Hello Ajoy and Jenny, welcome to the second episode of Circee TV. In the first episode, we had a blast when we spoke about the vision and mission of Circee, your entrepreneurship side, and a lot more. Whereas in the second episode, let us dive a little deep down into the medical side and understand how to avoid fats. So in this episode, we will actually be discussing 5 tips on how to avoid unnecessary fats in our body.
So we have 5 hopefully helpful and practical tips to help, as you mentioned, to help reduce your fat intake. Just a little pitch for one of Ajoy's videos about how fat is truly the real cause of diabetes and impaired fasting glucose. That's a discussion for another time, but today we're talking about reducing fat. So I'll say a couple, Ajoy will say a couple. So the first one, the number one tip we have for you, which you'll hear us saying again and again, is to reduce the amount of meat in your diet. So meat also includes seafood, which a lot of people I think don't realize. But the amount of saturated fat, which is the fat basically that stays solid at room temperature and which is the worst type of fat for you. That's the type that accumulates in your arteries, causes heart disease and diabetes and that sort of thing. That's what we want to completely avoid, but start by reducing it. So, you certainly don't, if you eat meat, you don't have to stop it completely right away. In fact, I always use the example, it took me 4 years, I think, to stop eating meat. I grew up eating everything. I grew up in America eating beef and pork and, chicken all the time. So over a 4-year period, I gave up all of those meats. Obviously you don't have to take that long, but it's just a goal. You can say on this day, I'm going to stop eating chicken, or on this, once a week, I'm not going to have any meat at all in my diet, meatless Monday, fishless Friday, whatever you can do. So that's one thing you can do. And second thing,
you want to stop and let's discuss or give a few more things on that meat
on
part.
The meat part.
Yeah. So
Sure.
one of the things that I was thinking about adding is that you may not think of meat as a source of saturated fat, but if you remember those who are meat eaters, just look at the next time when you're cutting up a piece of chicken or cleaning chicken or cleaning fish or mutton or whatever, you'll find that in between the layers of muscle, you'll find strands of fat. The white streaks that you find are really strands of fat, and those are actually saturated fats. That's where the muscles our body stores a lot of fat. So, and that kind of fat is really bad. So I just wanted to add that.
So thank you for adding, something that I guess you can remember, just by simply looking at your food. That's something good. So, okay. So number 2, kind of along the same lines, is also to reduce your dairy intake. So dairy includes milk, of course, cheese, paneer, eggs, and curd or yogurt. Butter, sorry. Butter, ghee also. I think this has been one of our most uphill battles, is convincing, especially people in India, that dairy is not good for you. I know that might come as shocking because we were all taught that growing up. I was taught that in medical school. Our parents made us drink gallons of milk. Thinking also about saturated fat, butter is the epitome or the definition of saturated fat. That is what we all, or at least what I think of when I think of saturated fat, as a big pat of butter. So, that's one way to think about it. I think we all think skim milk is probably okay, meaning like skimmed milk, no fat at all, but there is still actually fat there because inherently all animal products, including dairy, have saturated fat in them. So not good fats for you. Again, along the same lines of reducing your meat intake, also reduce your dairy intake. There's, the good thing is now in 2021, there's lots of substitutes that, almond milk, soya milk, and this is tough another day, but soya milk is not bad for you. In fact, it's very good for you and protective. Ajoy is a big milk lover, and he was very reluctant to give up his morning doodh and his chai, but now he's switched over to oat milk, which he says, correct me if I'm wrong, is the one that tastes the most like regular milk, cow's milk, buffalo milk.
Right.
So, I would suggest, I think what I used to do with him is put half regular milk and half oat milk, kind of gradually increase the amount of plant milk and decrease the amount of regular milk. There's also substitutes for butter, for dahi. There's peanut yogurt and coconut yogurt. So lots of substitutes, lots of options. Again, set a goal for yourself. Say, on Wednesdays, I'm not going to have any dairy, or by the end of December, I would have stopped dairy completely, that sort of thing. It's all about actually changing things, not doing it right away.
It's all about setting goals and following that in the process, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And you'll be amazed how much better you'll feel without the dairy. You don't realize it until it's not there anymore. We can both attest to that.
Oh, what type of better you mean? Like, how is it actually going to make a difference?
So I guess we want to talk. So dairy.
I don't want to talk more about the science, but talk about how, for example, what do you feel when you eat less dairy?
What do you feel exactly? Correct.
Right. So I'm sure a lot of people know how you feel. People that are lactose intolerant feel when you eat regular milk, you feel bloated and sluggish, and maybe have some stomach pain. More fatigued, that sort of thing. So I think you may not realize that butter and curd is doing the same thing, but it actually is. So, I think that's the biggest difference you might feel. But over time, I think if you look back, you realize, hey, my jogging was better that day, or my attention to my work was better that day. I slept better that night. It's kind of retrospective. You'll see, changes that
it does make difference in small ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Whenever we say these things that, you'll feel more energetic and all, a lot of times people think, I'm already feeling energetic. But then you give it up, and then you see that what that energetic me feels like is a huge difference. Another thing I'll tell you, because of my age, I can tell you that in the mornings, like 10, 15 years ago, get up and you get a little bit of a pain, ache, or like stiffness and all. I think, this is just normal. It'll go away. And it did go away. Within half an hour, 40 minutes, or an hour, or taking a shower, it's gone. Now, none of it is there right from the get-go. I wake up, there is absolutely no pain anywhere. So see the loss of those things going. That's when you realize that what I was noticing earlier was not normal. That's not how
it can get way better than that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So this was the second tip, right? So why don't we go on to the third tip next?
Third point I'll do, and then you want to do the last two, and your first. Third tip to reduce your fat intake is to try and eat at home more, which I guess a lot of us have been doing, home cooked food, not necessarily ordering in. Of course, we don't want you to stop completely. Still, please go to the restaurants and order in from time to time. But if the majority of your days can be cooking food at home, that's ideal. Mostly because, when you go out and when you order in restaurants and caterers, they add extra oil and butter and fat to add flavor. Because of course, it tastes good. So you don't even realize it sometimes. You might not visibly see the oil or the fat, but it's there. When you're at home, you can control it, and you can say, okay, I'm just going to put a teaspoon or a half teaspoon of oil instead of pouring it in unmeasured like they do. Another tip is if and when you do go out or order in, what we do is we kind of scan the menu and we look for anything with beans or dal or lentils. And greens.
Sorry.
Beans and greens. That's your secret. So, that's one. Inherently, they have so much fiber that it's kind of levels out the fat more than other foods do. And also, we also ask the restaurant, please put less oil, please put no ghee, please put no cream. We're allergic to oil. We're allergic to cream, and most at least in India, they're very good about reducing that. We've had great experiences. So.
That's actually true, because when we order in or go to the restaurant, we see that there's so much oil left when the food is completely over. You can see it literally like being there, and that's very unhealthy. You can just feel it being unhealthy. And that's I think what you're saying is absolutely perfect here.
It's not done to let's put more oil. That's not what they think. They think that people prefer a more tasty, and the tastes go through oils. All the spices and all go through oil, so that's why more oil. And you will never come across going to a restaurant where they add the oil with a teaspoon. They will add in,
No, never.
take a big ladle of theirs, which is like this big, dunk it in ghee or oil, and then dump it in that vessel. If you see the kitchen,
Yeah, exactly.
like how they do it. So
There's literally no measure or how much they put. Yeah,
huge difference between how much we can control at home versus there. Yeah.
exactly. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay, so we got to the fourth point now.
Kind of leads into the.
Oh yeah, so fourth point kind of leads us exactly into this. This is I'm going to give you tips about. She's already talked about how to reduce the fat intake. I'm going to give you an idea about how to add fat to your food.
Okay.
So
Good fat.
Good fat.
Good fat, yeah.
The first one I'm going to talk about is good or bad, doesn't matter. Like maybe olive oil or a tree nut oil is what I'm talking about. So what we do in our home is we started by typically we would just like if we're making a dal and we're making tadka, you just take the oil container and just pour it in a little bit, right? That's how typically people do it. We first encourage people to start using a teaspoon. Teaspoon or start with a tablespoon, that's fine. Just a spoon, so you can measure how much you're adding. Just add that in there and then dump it in there. Now you can see, okay, oh my
Yeah.
God, I added 2 tablespoons in there, right? So start with that. Then go to a teaspoon. Okay, add a little bit of that. The third thing is you can the third step in this process, it might take you a little bit, or you might just go out and do this, and that is I have a show and tell for that. This is our magic thing.
Oh.
Is I hope it can be seen. What
Yeah, yeah, it's very much visible.
glass bottle and
Spray
a
bottle.
spray bottle. Okay, and
Yeah.
it has I don't know if you can see it. There is water and oil. Oil and water, and
Okay.
you can just what I typically do is I add initially I started with 75% oil, 25% water.
Okay.
Now I add about 30% oil and 70% water. Okay.
Oh.
And if you can do this, great. If you don't, it's perfectly okay. I have something called soy lecithin, which is made from soybeans, and it's a lecithin. It's like a soapy solution, basically a thick soapy paste. Or you can even add bean paste in it.
Right.
This bean paste, the black bean paste. So if you add that, what happens is it has a emulsifying effect, and it allows us the oil and water to mix. Now, when I do that, you will see that the oil and water has become whitish in color. I don't know if you can.
Yeah, correct.
It's whitish in color
I can see. Yeah.
because it was sitting there for overnight. I mean, that's why I separated it out. But through the day, just before you spray, just do this and spray it, and you'll be surprised how little oil you really need in cooking. Like when you put, like for example, in North Indian cooking, we first start with the onions. Spray this bottle, and yes, there will be some amount of spatter because of water. But as soon as you add the
Water,
onion,
yeah.
vegetables in it, all the spattering will stop. You can spray a little bit more if you want at that point. Okay, and continue.
Yeah.
So it is incredible how much or how little fat you can use doing this. And the other trick is whenever you think after some time you need to have oil or something. Let's say you're making some, again Punjabi style, with some tomatoes and stuff like that, and it's getting done. And you say, oh,
Yeah.
I want to add some more oil. Don't add oil. Add water. You'll be surprised that water is just okay. Water will take care of that problem.
Some people cook only in water,
Yeah, some
or
people
they
cook.
use vegetable broth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can actually
Right.
be oil free.
Yeah.
That's
Now
possible.
we're not sure whether we should be doing such a drastic
No, we don't think you need
thing
that.
because oils are essential, but
Yeah.
to what extent? People, when you talk to people, say, "Oh yeah, oils are essential," but the problem is when you say essential, they mean essential oil. No, we mean essential meaning this is essential, not this much.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. Correct.
that's
Yeah, that's a great tip, actually. The spray thing was a great tip, actually.
Ah,
Yeah.
Thank you. And of course, we recommend glass because glass is the safest thing to use with oils, right? And last
Right.
Plastic.
instead of plastic, sorry, instead of plastic. Last
Yes.
but not
Yes. Correct.
last but not least is how to add oil, good oil, into your system. Here is a
Okay.
box with let's see, almonds, cashew, peanuts, flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds,
Watermelon.
watermelon seeds, okay,
Chia.
and chia. Okay,
Right.
but it's very tiny. It's there.
Yeah.
So what I do when I'm having my cereal is I just take like 2 tablespoons of this and dump it in there. Okay.
Oh.
Or a tablespoon, it depends. It just mix it up, because what happens is flaxseed are not settled at the bottom. So I just kind of mix it up and then take out a little bit. Actually, I just take it out in this and just dump it in
Okay.
there. Maybe not 2 tablespoons, maybe a tablespoon and a half or something. And that gives me really good oils that are actually cleansing types. The ones that will actually help you
Right.
bad.
The good oils, yeah.
Yeah, the good ones, and it makes a difference. I mean, flaxseed and all has been known to reduce triglyceride levels. It has been known to, it also crushed ones actually help you remove a lot of the, I guess, toxins from your body. It's fibrous, so it helps you remove. Like that's why I said it removes toxins from the body. Anything else?
I'm just along the same lines. A lot of people have probably heard about fish oil being very good for you, but even better is flaxseed oil. So that's what Joy is talking about. It's a good substitute. You don't get that fishy aftertaste, that people take with fish oil.
Correct.
Also, and this is probably a topic for another time, but I do a lot of vegan baking, and if you crush flax seeds and add water to it, it becomes like a gelatin, and it's a perfect substitute for egg in baking and pancakes and waffles. So just a tip
that should be our next episode then. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Sure thing. Right. So now that we're coming to the end of the episode, in this episode we actually spoke about the good oils, the bad oils, how to reduce the bad oils and how to increase the good oils, and with all the props that you have kept and given us tips on how to get rid of unnecessary fats, I can tell you this episode was very insightful. Thank you so much for joining us, Ajay and Jenny. We are really looking forward to the next episode. Until then, see you all. So much, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.